So, just to review again, today's class, we're going to be going over all of the team functions. So, this is going to include just touching upon some of the updates that were recently made during Mega Camp. We're also going to go over some of the things that you guys have access to specifically in a team account. So, if you are not associated with a team within your market center, or if you're not currently on a team, you may not have access to most of these platforms because they are specifically going to be geared around people who have a team platform. So to start, we're going to be doing this all through command. So I'm logging in right on agent.kw.com. And again, I did previously mention I'm going to be using a Rainmaker's account primarily. However, I have a team account tucked behind this one, so I can kind of jump back and forth just to show you guys the differences that you may see as well. But I'm going to start by logging into command. So once we're logged into command, the first thing I just want to touch upon, only because we get this question so frequently, is just going to go over the actual marketing profile to make sure that you guys have your team name added and make sure that your information is populating as a team. So to start, we're just going to click on our name in the top right-hand corner, and then we're going to pull up settings. Once we have our settings platform up, we're just going to click on Connect Settings right on the left-hand side, and then we'll see Marketing Profile is nestled right underneath that. So to start, just to give you guys a little bit of a backstory on this specific account, this account is a team. They do have multiple members on their team. However, they are actually set up with two Rainmakers. So you'll notice I'm in one of the Rainmakers accounts. I'm in Connie's account. However, it's actually set up with both of their picture, and they also have it set up with both of their names. So if you guys are on a team that only has one Rainmaker, primarily the way that this would be set up is the Rainmaker's name would essentially be put in the first name and the last name, and the Rainmaker's photo would be added as the photo, or sometimes a team photo of everybody. Now, this is something that you guys can decide based on your team, which is great. This is going to give you guys a little bit of wiggle room on how you actually set up your marketing profile. So, again, this isn't really a blanket correct or incorrect platform. It's completely based on how you guys want it to be set up. But you'll notice they have their headshot populating right here. That's going to publish to their website. They also have their logo, which looks wonky here. However, it does show up properly on the website. I know that's also a common misconception as well. And I'll pull that up and show you guys afterwards. And then again, for their first name, they have their first Rainmaker and then the and sign and then the second Rainmaker. That way, on all of the marketing, when it actually has like their information, it will say Connie Yates and Leisha Maxwell. Underneath that, they just have a placeholder agent license number. We tend to use this account for classes. And then we have the team name. So previously, it's been stated just to put something there because this will actually be the title of your drop down list on your command website. When you're associated with the team, you want to make sure that you actually have your team name populating there. Scrolling down a little bit more, we have your basic job title, designations. This is going to be the same for every agent. Bio. One thing for the bio, if you are going to be working on a team or whether or not you are the Rainmaker, a lot of agents do want to specify some information about the team, especially if it's the Rainmaker account. So that's something you may want to tweak accordingly. The next section I want to show you is where they actually have both phone numbers. They have first name and then semicolon phone number, and then the other person's name, semicolon phone number. You can essentially get away with adding it like that on the marketing profile if you want two numbers to populate. The only downside is if you go to create a custom page down the line, what will happen is it will actually give you an error and you'll need to remove one of these emails and one of these phone numbers. So you'll see they do have both populating here currently, which will populate both on the main page of their website. But when going to add a custom page down the line, they will only be able to select one of them. So it's just something to keep in mind. But this will assist you guys again. If you're a husband and wife team, mother daughter team, father son team, and there's only two of you that are essentially practicing on that team, you can get both of your pieces of contact information added here. And as always, if you guys are trying to do this and it's not working correctly, or heaven forbid you guys just get stuck, shoot us an email. You can shoot it over to us. You can even drop it and put attention Brittanie team class with your login information and what you guys are trying to edit. We can always go in, take a look, and just make sure that it's updated for you. Then we have our website. You'll notice that that's populating here. If you guys do have a custom URL or essentially a team website, and this is big for agents that are associated with a team, maybe you're not using your personal command website. Maybe you're using an actual blanket website provided by your team. You would want to make sure that that URL is here, as that's what's going to show up on your smart plans. It's what's going to show up on your mobile app, and essentially any campaign that you run. That's what it's going to pull from, is this section right here. Underneath that, we have our basic brokerage information, which should be standard for every agent, market center, logo, and then all of our market center brokerage information. Underneath that, we have compliance. Same thing, pretty standard. This is something that all agents should essentially have the same. Each office is independently owned and operated, tends to be the common legal footer text. And then if you guys need to add any sort of link or PDF, you can still add that here. And then same, some boards I know require a certain logo to be added. If you're running your information through their platform, you can upload that in right there as well. Scrolling down to social media, again, with teams, you guys may have a team page. So if you guys are using a team social media page, you would want to make sure that is the one that's added here. If you're not using a team social media page, you still want to make sure it is a business page. Commonly, we are seeing personal profiles, personal Twitters, Instagrams that are not geared towards real estate. These are actually put right on your website with a clickable link. They're also associated with your mobile app and all of your marketing platforms. So making sure that you're actually using your real estate associated platforms is very important because you're literally putting this out there with your branding. Scrolling down a little bit more, we have the Facebook pixel and ads, and then Google Analytics. If that's something you guys are interested in setting up on your specific platform, let us know, shoot us an email, and we do have tip videos that I can send over to you that will go over how to do that. That will actually go over how to show you guys how to track your Facebook ads and also track Google Analytics, essentially the traffic on your website. And last but not least, we have your branded app link. So if you guys are using your own branded app, which a lot of teams, even when you're associated with the team, agents are still using their own personal app, which is completely fine. Just make sure that that is the URL that's populating there. If you ever second guess it, you can always just pull that up in a separate tab, make sure that it's branded with you. Or if you guys are going the route of sharing a mobile app, just make sure that it's essentially the one you want populating there. Because again, your marketing profile is actually going to feed to multiple platforms of command and help you with branding everything. So this is kind of like your ground zero for marketing. If you guys did make any changes, any tweaks on here, make sure that you're clicking save all the way at the bottom. And then you guys will get the pop-up just letting you know that this has been saved and adjusted. Connects out of that. Last but not least, before jumping out of the marketing profile, one major thing you want to make sure is essentially activated is right here. Use my information to brand my agent site. You want to make sure that's green. If it's not green, your mobile app won't brand, your website won't brand, your smart plans won't brand. So you want to make sure that this is populating as green. If it's currently gray, just click it and you'll get a pop up letting you know, make sure you're within compliance. You can just essentially just accept it and then it will turn green for you and essentially market your information accordingly. Once you guys have done that, I actually kind of want to go over some of the settings that Rainmakers now have access to as far as the team permissions go. A lot of this was updated last night, so I'm going to give you guys as much information as I can. Again, some of these updates are still being launched with MegaCamp just happening. A lot of these updates were actually released and announced at MegaCamp, so they're going to be trickling out over the next month or two. So I'm going to go over what we've noticed is already up and live. Again, I do also have a page and notes that I can shoot you guys over as an email. Anybody who's watching this recording, I'm going to put a page of notes in the actual bio of this video that will just break down some of this a little bit further, going over some step by steps. But the first thing I want to show you guys is on the left hand side with still having this menu open, you guys have access to the general settings. And when you click on that, you should be seeing team management underneath. So I'm just going to click on team management. One thing that you'll notice is all as of right now, when I'm in a Rainmaker account, all I'm seeing is my Rainmaker's name. I'm not actually seeing any of my teammates. That being said, it's actually due to the team not being selected yet. And this is going to be a common issue that you may come across if you are trying to access something that is a team platform. So if you guys are having issues with opportunities not populating, or you guys are looking for something specific in contacts, always make sure that the team is selected. In order to select the team, they just moved it on us. So if you guys click on your name in the top right hand corner, you'll see under other accounts, you can now toggle in between your team account and your personal account. So I'm just going to click on my team account and it actually pulls up all of my teammates. And that's something that we have gotten a lot of questions about when you guys go into the team management. If you guys are only seeing your name and you're a Rainmaker, make sure you have your team selected and it will give you access to everything. So as far as this platform goes, again, another common question that we get, so I wanted to address it, how to add a admin to your account. So if you guys are currently set up as a Rainmaker and maybe you have somebody who's going to be doing all of your compliance, essentially anything with contacts, opportunities, referrals, tasks, they're going to be involved, but they may not practice real estate, you can actually add them as an admin to your account. So Leah is actually set up as an admin on here. But in order to do that, you would just click on add member. And then once this screen pops up, you'll click on your drop down. You'll see you have two options. You're always going to use the add guest user as of right now. The add team member actually won't work what that does is try to add, say like a buyer's agent to your team. That still needs to be done by your market center staff, primarily your market center administrator. So if you guys have maybe a new buyer's agent or a listing agent that's going to be practicing real estate, they need to be added into the system of your office, win more, and then added to the team tool by your market center. So again, if you guys have a new actual agent on your team, you're going to want to go through your office, let them know, they'll do all the paperwork required and get them added because they should essentially have their own standalone account that will just be nestled under the team rather than a team account created by the Rainmakers platform. It gives them a little bit more independence as well. So once I click on my add guest user, it pulls up pretty basic information, first name, last name, email address, and then you can set up a dummy password, Keller123 or whatever you guys want to set up. And then you would essentially agree to the conditions below and send request. That being said, when you send a request, it does take 72 hours to activate, so don't panic. After 72 hours has passed, the admin is going to receive a welcome email with all of their info on the new account. It's going to give them their username, their password, break down what they'll have access to, just so they kind of have a heads up. As of right now, these administrative accounts created through Rainmaker accounts will essentially have Rainmaker access to contacts, which I'll go over what that means. Opportunities, meaning they'll see all of the team's opportunities as long as they're being placed under the team name, which is phenomenal, especially if this admin is going to be running compliance. They'll also have access to referrals that are being placed through the team and tasks that are being assigned through the team. So that will give them pretty much Rainmaker access, very similar access to the Rainmaker account. So this is very important depending on what your admin is doing. You may have to create them an additional account going this route if they need access to any of those things. So I'm going to X out of that. Another thing I want to show you guys that was actually just updated, which is great. We actually just found this out this morning. If you guys click on command settings right underneath, and then contacts, you guys should then see contact tags. And when I click on that, previously, you guys only had one tab that was functional. It was essentially just your name. Now you'll notice if you're on a Rainmaker account, if you're on a team member account, you won't have access to this. So I apologize, don't panic. But if you are on a Rainmaker account, you'll notice now that you actually have a tab with your team name. You can now create custom tags that your entire team will have access to and essentially be able to utilize together. This is phenomenal. So previously, when having contacts essentially tagged in your contact platform, you were only able to use system tags when contacts were assigned to the team. It didn't matter if they were shared with you, it didn't matter if they were assigned with you as well. As long as they were associated with the team, you were only able to use system tags, which caused a little bit of an issue because obviously you may have something specific you wanted to tag these as, maybe Facebook lead or a certain time frame, whatever it may be. Now your Rainmaker can actually go in here, create these custom tags, and then you will have access to them. That being said, this is not live yet for all accounts. So this is something kind of yet to come. So if you guys create your tags now, they can essentially sit here and wait for you, but actually delegating them out, we've seen it only work in a handful of accounts. It seems as though it just went live about 12 hours ago. So we assume that this will start trickling out to other team accounts. If you guys start playing with this and you're not seeing that you have access to it, as always, shoot us an email. We can take a look at your account and make sure everything is set up properly. But this is one of the new updates from MegaCamp, which again, phenomenal. Another thing I wanted to go over, lead sources. This is also very cool. Right underneath your contact tags, you guys can now add in custom lead sources, which was not an option previously. This is something that I've seen in Rainmaker accounts and regular agent accounts. So you guys can actually come in here and create a custom lead source now, which is great. This is a question that we get all the time as well. Underneath that, I just wanted to touch upon the opportunity settings. So if you guys are a Rainmaker account, if you click on opportunity settings, you will also see a team permission stuck underneath that. I'm going to click on that. And again, this is a Rainmaker feature. So once I pull this up, this will actually show you what you're allowing your teammates to have access to. One thing that we have noticed, and we are unsure if this is how it will continue to be, but this is what we've seen so far. If you do have no selected, it tends to actually block your agents on your team from creating an opportunity, period. It doesn't necessarily block them from creating an opportunity on their own. It actually blocks them from creating an opportunity at all. So if you have somebody who is going to be creating opportunities and essentially handling all of this, a transaction coordinator, whatever it may be, then having no selected would be okay. But this is essentially going to block them from using the opportunities platform as a whole. That being said, selecting yes allows them to essentially create their own opportunities, whether it's under the team name or under their own name. And it will also allow them to essentially follow through those functions, send it out to DocuSign. If it's under the team name, they'll have access to create a discussion with you if you're assigned to it. They'll be able to assign you to it, or vice versa. If you're the Rainmaker, you can assign them opportunities out to your agents. It essentially gives them full access to everything. Select agents, you can essentially only select certain agents in order to have access to create opportunities. Maybe you guys have an agent that is not going to be dealing with the opportunities platform and you want to disable it just to make sure that they don't accidentally stumble upon it and create one. Completely fine. But just so Rainmakers or anybody who essentially is utilizing the Rainmaker account, just so you guys can see what you have access to do and what these platforms should essentially allow your agents to do. So I just wanted to touch upon that really quick. Let's see. And then the last thing I wanted to go over, lead routing. So lead routing as of right now is something that really only the team leader or the Rainmaker has access to. This is something that they are completely revamping right now. So from MegaCamp, if you guys have used lead routing previously, what it essentially allowed you to do was pull any leads that were coming in from the lead pool and essentially delegate those out to make sure that they're being nurtured, they're being contacted accordingly. They are currently working on this, and we do have some tip videos that I can send over to you that will go more in depth in regards to how this will work for Rainmakers specifically. But if you guys haven't dealt with it previously, you can actually come in and click on routes, and command's going a little bit slow today, so I apologize. But you can actually create a route, and what it's going to allow you to do is essentially select a certain day or a certain time frame where leads will be sent to certain team members. So it's just going to allow this to automatically delegate out these leads. If it's something that you would rather be doing on a manual basis, that is completely fine. You can still do this manually through the lead pool function. This is just maybe you ran a Facebook ad, or you're running a Facebook ad and it's going to be grabbing a lot of leads, you're going to get a lot of captures. You can essentially set up a route which will delegate those leads out accordingly without you having to do anything, which is kind of cool. And again, they are working on this. This is not live yet. So if you guys have any issues with it, it was live for a little bit and they seem to have taken it offline. So if you guys have any issues with it, shoot us an email and we can always take a look at your account. However, creating new routes as of right now, we have not seen them go through successfully yet. They are still running updates on them. So now that we've kind of gone over all of the setting aspects, I just wanted to touch upon the physical website really quick. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you guys should have a consumer icon. If you're not seeing it, try zooming out a little bit, only because sometimes when you're on a laptop, it does chop these off. So we're just going to click on consumer. Once consumer comes up, I'm just going to pull up agent site pages as the tab. And these are essentially all of the pages that are on the current team website. So yatesmaxwellproperties.kw.com. That being said, I'm going to pull up their website just so I can show you guys. We just went over the marketing profile and how they have their information populating. So I want to show you guys how that actually directs to their website. So to start, as I said before, their logo did look a little bit wonky on their marketing profile. However, once we go to their physical website, it does essentially stretch the logo out so it does show up properly. We have our team name populating right on the top right-hand corner. It's the name of our drop-down list. They've customized the image of the background of their website, which you guys can also update, and I'll show you guys where. But I'm going to scroll down just to show you guys the most important part. So you guys will see right here how they had their names populating in the marketing profile. This is how it's going to direct over to the physical website. So you see we have the photo, it's still both of them, Connie Yates and Leisha Maxwell, and then we have the team name and then their contact information. So I have Connie's phone number, Leisha's phone number, and then both emails are populating here. So that is how, if you guys add both of that information or essentially just format it that way, this is how it will populate on your physical website. That being said, I do want to make note, if you guys utilize the Meet the Team page, I'll pull this up. If you guys do utilize the Meet the Team page, which is provided to you guys by Keller Williams, what will end up happening is it will actually make the Connie's picture, a picture of both of them, and it actually adds both of their contact information to her profile. And I'm going to show you guys how that populates and how you guys can essentially work around that. So if you guys have not created a team page and you are a part of a team, we're just going to click on create a new site in the top right hand corner. And then we'll click on the first option on my agent site. And then create page. Once we have this up, I'm just going to label my page test meet the team because I know she already has one on here. And I do recommend always titling any page that you guys are creating, whether it's the meet the team page or you guys are just coming in here to play around, add something specific. Make sure that you're titling it because when you go to make it live, it will actually allow you to add that or pull that information accordingly. So in other words, you're not going to have to dig through anything. It will physically show you the name of that page. So once I have that retitled, on the right-hand side, you guys are going to see all of the widgets that you have access to. And I'm going to start just by grabbing my Meet the Team. And I'm just going to drag it and drop it onto my blank slate. Once you guys have done that, it should look exactly like this because we have not configured it yet. So it's basically just the template populating right now. Right at the bottom of the page, bottom right, you guys should be seeing configure widgets. And we're going to click on that. And then we'll click on team. You guys can adjust the title if you guys want to put your team name, meet the blank team, or just the team name entirely. Intro text, if you guys have a catchphrase or a slogan, you can type that in here. You guys have 200 characters to play with. You just want to make sure that on the team platform, you're just selecting your team name. What this is then going to do is give you access to all of your team members that you can then select and then click save and apply. And it's actually going to add all of their pictures from the marketing profile. So as long as these agents have their marketing profile set up, again, that's the first thing that we went over. As long as they have that set up, that's actually what this pulls from. So if you guys see a discrepancy, for example, Shirley has not yet set up her marketing profile. She has no contact information, no picture. That's what's pulling that. If you do have an agent that hasn't updated that, you can always uncheck them and then resave and apply, and it will just filter over and essentially remove that agent for you. But what I was speaking about earlier, Connie Yates, you'll notice her picture actually has both her and Lisha in the photo, and then it also has both of their pieces of contact information. So when it comes to something like that, a nice workaround is essentially to remove the Rainmakers, save and apply. You can leave your meet the team and then actually create a separate page using the agent profile for the specific Rainmakers. So in other words, that's going to allow you to add a bio. It's going to allow you to add their individual contact information. So in other words, if you guys have more than one Rainmaker, you can do 2 separate pages, one for each of them with their designated contact information, their designated bios, and essentially add those as pages. And then the additional agents will populate here. If you guys want bios for everyone to be added onto your website, they would have to be added one by one to the agent profile section. As of right now, there isn't a way for this to actually pull bios over. This is more so just basic contact information. But if you are looking to highlight and essentially have each agent have their own page, you can certainly do that. And I'll save this and I'll show you guys how to do that. And then once you guys click save, I'm just going to click on yes. And that essentially adds the page as not being live, but it's here so I can make it live. If you guys are in a circumstance where you do want all of your agents to have their own page, you want them to have their own bio, information, and things like that, we're going to do the exact same thing and click on create a new site. We're going to select on my agent site again, and then create page. And I'll do this one. I'll just label this one Connie. about me. And once you guys have that title, right to the right of the team widget, you guys are going to see agent profile. You guys can actually now grab this one, drag and drop, and you'll want to make sure that you're dropping right on the blank slate. And you'll see it pulls both their pictures and essentially it pulls Connie's bio. You can adjust this by clicking on configure widgets on the bottom right hand corner. So say for example, maybe you're doing this for another team member, you're going in and you're adding all 5 team members as individual pages. You'll click on configure widgets and agent profile. And you'll see here, you can now add their personal picture. So if you guys have a picture, a headshot of that agent, make sure it's a square. If it's not a square, it does end up distorting it, but make sure that you have a headshot of that agent as a square. You would essentially just click on the image. It will allow you to pull it right from your computer. Page title, we could put Connie Yates, and then Yates and Maxwell. Properties, and then about Connie Yates, and then it has all of her information underneath. Contact, I can remove the contact section because that's how they had it set up on their marketing profile. So contact title, I would make sure this is just the agent's name. Agent phone, I would make sure it's just Connie's number. And then for email, I'm just going to delete the other email that's sitting behind hers and then save and apply. And now you'll see this would essentially be geared right towards a specific agent. Unfortunately, I don't have a headshot specifically of Connie, but you guys would update that to their specific headshot. But now this is geared all towards one agent rather than promoting the team or maybe skipping the bio. It has their contact information at the bottom. It has their bio right smack front and center. It has the team name still, but then you're promoting that specific agent. And then when you go to essentially make this page live, you can label it maybe Meet Connie Yates, and then you would have all of the meets put together. So if you guys have 5 agents, you guys could add them to your website as like Meet John Smith, Meet Connie Yates, Meet Leah Bass. That way clients can actually go to your website, click on that specific page, get that little synopsis about that agent, learn a little bit more about that specific agent, and also have a way to contact that agent directly. So that's kind of a workaround on how to get that added. So I'm just going to click on Save Changes, and I'll show you guys how to add this page to the website really quick. I'm just going to click on Yes. So once I have that, you'll see essentially all of the pages that have these teal eyeballs are live. If you guys are seeing a gray eyeball, it just means that it has not yet been made live, but it is ready and available to be made live. So all I'm going to click on is Site and App Settings. And then from here, I'll click on Site Pages. And then once Site Pages loads, on the bottom left-hand corner, you guys should see Add Page, and I'm just going to click on that. From here, I have my new Test Meet the Team, and then I also have my Connie About Me. I'm just going to make the Connie About Me one live. So when I select that, I can click Continue. And then page title, we can put Meet Connie Yates. For our slug, we're going to do the exact same thing, except our spaces are going to be dashes because slugs will not allow special characters or spaces. So Meet Connie Yates. Yates and they have the and sign and Maxwell properties. And your SEO can vary, whatever works for you guys. I'm just going to put learn more about Connie Yates of Yates and Maxwell properties. And then I would just click save. And that's actually going to add them. And I'll show you guys on here. I'll refresh my website. And now if I click on my my drop-down list, I have Meet Connie Yates, and that would be essentially how you would group them. My recommendation would be to put all of your Meet pages together just so they can kind of go down in the row. But once you guys click on it, it will essentially pull up that specific page that we just created, geared towards that agent specifically. jumping back, if you guys have not reorganized pages before, you can literally just click drag and drop, and then just remember to click save page changes, and it will reorder your list for you. And then again, as always, if you guys stumble when you're doing this, if there's any issues, something doesn't look right, it's not saving correctly, by all means, you can always reach out to us and we can take a look at it for you. So the next thing I wanted to touch upon is actually going to be the smart plans, because this is huge. They did just release at Mega Camp a way for you guys to create custom smart plans and actually share them, not only with team members, but also with essentially anybody. You can make them live and then they're searchable by other agents with Keller Williams. So in order to do that, I'm just going to click on my Smart Plans tab. It's the fourth from the top. And if you guys hover over it, it will actually say Smart Plans for you. If you guys ever question what the icons are for, you can click on the red KW and it will actually give you guys what it is too, just in case. But I'm going to click on Smart Plans. And I created this one earlier just for the sake of this class to make sure that everything was live for you guys. So what I did is I just created essentially a dummy smart plan. If you guys are looking to create a custom smart plan, you would click on create in the top right hand corner, and it will allow you guys to add certain tasks. It will allow you guys to do like phone calls, add them to another smart plan, text messages, emails. We do have a specific tip that goes over how to create a custom smart plan. But the cool thing now is what they actually launched at Mega Camp. Not live yet, but they announced it at Mega Camp. What you'll actually be able to do is assign certain pieces of the smart plan to your teammates, which is really cool. So if you guys have maybe a follow up, like one of the tasks is set up and you want them to call them, or you want them to write them a handwritten note, or whatever it may be, you can actually assign that to one of your team members. This again is not live yet. Once it is live, we will get a tip made and we will essentially put that right on our YouTube channel. So always keep an eye out on the YouTube channel. We do have a special team channel as well. And I'll be sending that over to everybody watching class today. If you guys are following along with the recorded version, I will make sure to hyperlink that below on our notes document. So I'll actually put that right at the top of our notes document, a direct channel or a direct link to our team channel, because that's where all of our new command tips, kind of like the quick tips that we're going over today, those are all on there. So if you guys ever second guess how you're doing something, we have a video on it. So to start, I just have my team class test smart plan put together. If you guys ever question what you set up, you can always click on your little arrow and it's going to break down exactly what this smart plan is set up to do. So I have a call contact, that's my first thing that comes up, then a 4-day delay, then I have an email going out, then a 5-day delay, and then a phone call. So once I created this smart plan and it has all of my team information, everything's all set up, I just went and clicked on my 3 dots on the right hand side and clicked publish to library. And this one's already been published. But once you click on publish to library, all it's going to do is have you essentially just spell check it. It's going to make you comb through and say, this is what is set up as your email. This is what is set up as your phone call. This is your description. Does this look correct? I put everything in as test, so I'll be deleting this later today. But this is just to show you guys how to actually publish it to the library and then how to find it. So now that it's been published to the library, I can come right over to my library button, and I'm going to copy this just so I have the exact verbiage, and then wait for library to load. And now you guys will notice, first of all, when you click on library, if you guys haven't come in here yet, this is a little bit unrelated to Teams, but you guys now can actually go through all of these smart plans, which is very cool. So these are all smart plans that other team leaders or agents or market center staff or potentially teams have actually shared, and you guys now have access to all of them. So this was a big question that we got frequently on how to share smart plans. You can now do it. It is live. It is successful. So you guys can now come in here and do that. In order to now find this smart plan, I can actually just paste in the exact smart plan name and it will pull it up for me. And it's right here. The beauty of this is just to show you guys that it does show up on other accounts. I'm going to jump over to my teammates account. So this is a teammate that is actually under Connie's team currently. And if I click on Smart Plans, and then pull up my library, exact same thing. I can do the exact same thing and paste that in and give it a second to register. And now I have this smart plan. So this is a great way for you guys to essentially share custom smart plans that you've created. And now they can come in here and click add smart plan. They can essentially rename it if they'd like, download it, and then it's going to add it right to my smart plans. And here it is. And now they can come in here and actually edit this accordingly. And as you can see, I literally put test for everything just to show you guys how it funnels through. But this is how they can then come in here and customize it accordingly. So maybe if the pronouns are different, or if they want to use their own signature, or if they want to adjust maybe the email a little bit, whatever they need to adjust, they now have access to do that and then save it on their own. And that will only save it to their version. So you're essentially publishing almost like a blanket version, maybe less customized, and then whoever decides to download it, whether you're pulling one from another agent, from a team member, you guys will have access to that and access to customize it accordingly. So this is very cool. So jumping back over to Connie's account, that's how you guys now have access to share smart plans. One thing that is yet to come, they are still working on this update. We're hoping it'll be available at some point in October, is going to be designs and campaigns are on essentially the list of updates, meaning that a Rainmaker will be able to go in and essentially create a design and share that and delegate it out to their team members. So rather than creating the same design in multiple accounts, you guys will now be able to share them back and forth. You'll also be able to essentially link a campaign to a smart plan, which is also very cool. If you guys haven't had a chance to dabble with smart plans, by all means, my recommendation is to go in, check them out. As always, if you guys have questions, definitely let us know. But that is something that was just updated. We actually noticed the update about 12 hours ago. So we'll have some tips and tricks posted to our YouTube channel over the next couple of days, just to go over how to navigate some of the new aspects that you guys have access to in designs and campaigns and smart plans. But the marketing platform overall for teams is just allowing you guys to collaborate more rather than you being seen as an independent agent. You'll just have access to share all of this information with your teammates. So rather than having to redo it, you can essentially share it with somebody who's already completed it, which again, very cool. It's just going to save you guys some time. Let's see. I think I already mentioned this, but I just want to make sure. One of the other announcements that were made at Mega Camp is that you're able to assign tasks from Smart Plans to specific members. So in other words, let me pull up Smart Plans really quick, and then I'll just jump into 8x8. So if I click on the edit for my 8x8, and this isn't live yet, but I want to show you guys what they're referring to. So in other words, if you guys set a task, so if I add a task on, scroll all the way down to the bottom, I'll have access to assign this to an actual team member, which is very cool. Again, it's not live yet, so I'm not entirely sure how it's going to look, but it's referring to the actual tasks in Smart Plans. You'll be able to assign it to a team member. So in other words, if you need someone else to be calling this person, emailing them, handwritten note, tasks are really endless because you give it its own description and its own name. So really whatever needs to be done, you can essentially put that in here, even if it's like create a Facebook ad for, a listing or whatever it may be. You guys can set that up and just type it in here and go from there. And it will essentially assign it to that person. It will show up in their personal tasks and as a notification, and then they will go ahead and follow through with the task. So pretty cool. One other section I want to dive into, only because again, there were a lot of updates on here and we may go a couple minutes over, so I apologize. But I just want to click on the opportunities tab. So if you guys click on the handshake, we'll leave page. One of the things that I want to address, because again, this is a very common question that we get with team platforms. If you are a part of a team, if you go to your opportunities platform, you should see essentially a tab with your team name. Depending on your team permissions and how they're set up, you may also have a name with your own name. However, if you are not a Rainmaker, you may not see a tab with your own name. Completely fine. It just means that any opportunity that you create is going to automatically go under the team, which is great. It's one less thing that you have to click. That being said, when it comes to opportunities, as of right now, and we are unsure if this is actually something that's going to be changed, it's kind of been up in the air. But as of right now, if you're on a team and you create an opportunity, you have access to that opportunity. The Rainmaker has access to the opportunity, and an admin that was created under the Rainmaker's account. That's how we started class. If they essentially go into opportunities, they would also be able to see it. However, if you are an agent on a team and there is another agent on your team, you guys are both set up as either buyer's agent, listing agent, you're not set up as an admin or a Rainmaker. You cannot see each other's opportunities unless it is assigned to you. So if you guys are maybe working collaboratively on a listing, or maybe you just need some assistance, you're not sure if you're doing something right, you can actually assign an opportunity to your teammate and they will have full access to the opportunity just like you. It actually gives them a mirror image of everything. So in order to do that, I actually set up a test opportunity earlier, right under listing. So I'm just going to show you guys this just so you can kind of follow along. If you guys have assigned an opportunity, this may look very familiar, but I'm just going to click on active. And I have my team class test listing right here. So I'm just going to open this up. And the first thing that you guys get essentially dumped onto is the details page. So I'm pulling up my opportunity. I'm on the details page. Right under general information, you guys can see the owner. The owner will always be your name. However, some teams, when you guys do add an opportunity, it will populate with the Rainmaker as the owner. It again just depends on the permissions. So don't panic if yours looks a little bit different. But one thing you do want to pay attention to is the assignees. So you'll see right now, Connie is assigned to her own opportunity because she's working on it, and Leah is as well. So if I click on this pencil, I can remove Leah, and I'll save it really quick. And then I can jump back into Leah's account. That's the account that I'm logged into parallel to this one. And I'll open up opportunities. And I'll click on my active listings and I have nothing here because she's no longer assigned to it. So if Connie is working on something and she has an issue with something, she needs Leah to take a look, or she just needs Leah to add information in, she can come back to this pencil. And right under assignees, if you actually just click on it, it's going to give you access to everybody who's added to your team. If there's someone you're trying to assign an opportunity to and they're not on this team, one of two things is happening. They either don't have it set up on team permissions under the Rainmakers account to allow them to create opportunities, or they have not yet been added to the team tool by your office. So if you guys, again, are trying to add somebody to the assignee platform of an opportunity and it's not showing here, let us know. We can always try and see what the issue is, but it's the one of two things. Either they're not added to your team or they don't have permission to create an opportunity. So all I have to do is select my person. I'm just going to click on Leah and then I'll save this. And the beauty of this is it's instant. So the second I see that and I have my green ribbon saying it's been saved, I'm going to jump back to Leah's account and just refresh. And here's my opportunity. It is that fast. So if you guys are trying to do something quickly, by all means, you guys can assign and they'll have access to it in seconds. From here, this is pretty cool. If you guys have not used this yet, which I know a lot of teams were kind of waiting on it to go live, I recently noticed this morning that it is fully functional and up and running. If you guys are on your pipeline, you'll see here that you guys have options to actually assign tasks. If you have not yet created tasks or stages, you can come in here and click on edit stages. And this you can do from any pipeline. So as long as you're in your pipeline, you'll have access to this. If we click on edit stages, it's going to pull up the separate stages for that specific pipeline. So right now I'm on active. So it's showing me staging, photography, showing, negotiations, under contracts, legacy, and some of these have been added. I also have access to set up a checklist. Very cool. You guys can now come in here, and I had set up a couple just for photography because that's where my opportunity was. But to show you guys one that doesn't have actual checklist set up, if you just click on that items, it will allow you to add in an item. So you guys can actually just say for staging, contact client, something as simple as that, and just click save. And what you can actually do is then go ahead and assign these as you're adding them. So this would be a blanket setup. So if you guys haven't done this yet, you can come in here, add specific things to your checklist items, which by default will be added to every single opportunity, which is again, very cool. It's just helping you guys stay organized. So if you guys have not yet done this, you guys can again do this from any pipeline. So I was in active, so these are just my stages for active. You guys can add stages. Maybe there's something specific. Maybe you guys don't use photography, but there's something else that you guys use. Maybe you use a certain marketing company to do something and you want to make sure that you're reaching out to them in order to market a listing, whatever it may be. So again, this is actually determined based on which pipeline you're in. I'm under listings and active. So you guys have access to edit all of that. You guys can come in here, add checklists. Very cool. We do have a tip that goes way more in depth that I can add to the notes as well. So I'll get that together and get it out to you guys this afternoon. Again, anybody watching the recording, I'll put a bunch of tips together on a Word doc and I'll hyperlink it below just to go over in some more depth because I know a lot of this I'm just touching the surface just to show you guys where it is. But once you guys have created your checklist, you can click on your little back to listings and active. And now you'll see I have access to actually pull these checklists, pull these items. I can click right on them and go ahead and assign them. So for example, this was assigned to Leah. I can assign this one to Leah as well and then close it out. And it will actually notify Leah and make sure that it's being assigned to her based on the date. One of the huge things, if you don't actually set a due date, it will not go through properly. So, for example, this was set as a reminder to be done by October 10th. I can set this one, today's the 30th. We'll set it due as the 2nd and then just click OK. And it will actually prompt her and show up now as a task for her. So this is a great way for you to kind of just make sure that, especially if there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen when it comes to opportunities, if you guys are collaborating on opportunities or you guys have multiple agents just maybe working with one buyer, or one of you is on the buying side, one of you is on the listing side, and you just kind of want to stay on top of everything, you can essentially add that other agent as an assignee so they can just see how you're progressing and vice versa. It's a great way, again, just to keep everything organized. So once I've done that, I can click close. And then the last thing I want to show you guys before I pull up Leah's account is if you then open up your opportunity, this is now officially up and running, is discussions. So I know that we've gotten a lot of questions about this in the past, that discussions were not syncing through properly. They are now working, which is great. So now if you have something, maybe Connie has a document that, has come through, or she sent through a task and she wants to make sure that Leah got it, she can actually open up the specific opportunity, click on discussions, and then it actually allows them to chat back and forth. So in other words, Leah previously had put task received and Connie Yates replied perfect. So if I put through to Leah, sent new task, 9:30, and reply back, I can just come out of this, go back into Leah's account. And again, I'm toggling in between two accounts, which you guys would not primarily be doing. I would just refresh Leah's page. And then as Leah, I can actually open up my opportunity and it will prompt me, or it should prompt me. Let me see if it comes up again. It did take a minute this morning. And then if I open up discussions, I have it in here, but it looks like it's taking a second. I'm too quick for the actual notification to come through, but it does come through right here. So sent new task 9:30. So this is pretty cool. You guys can actually go ahead and now communicate back and forth. What would happen is usually within a couple of minutes, they'll get a red dot here, letting them know that there is a new discussion available. That way they'll click on it. They can also come in here and they can check out the tasks, which is cool. So Leah can see the ones that have been assigned to her. It also should be prompting her via notifications. However, let me see. I know notifications, they do usually take about 5-10 minutes. So it looks like I'm just seeing the lag time now. But what should happen is you should be getting a notification as well as a task set up. So pretty cool. It's just another way, again, to keep everything organized. Think of the discussion as almost like a chat box for you guys. So if you need to leave a note, even if it's a mental reminder for yourself, you guys can now drop that in there. And then you guys also have your checklist that you guys can now set up and assign accordingly, which again, just very helpful. So I'm going to jump back to Connie's platform. And then let me see. The last thing I wanted to go over is the contact section when it comes to just assigning a contact and how the tagging is going to be working. As of right now, the way that the platform is set up is not how it is essentially staying. So right now, the tag features, the tag functions, how you guys can essentially share contacts and assign contacts, that is in the process of being updated right now. KW Answers, or Keller Williams International, did launch or essentially post a bunch of stuff yesterday over the last probably about the last 12 to 24 hours. There is a lot of new articles available to you guys, but it does specifically notate that they are not yet live. So I did grab all of those this morning and I will put them again in the notes that I'll be emailing out to you guys. I'll also hyperlink them underneath the YouTube video if you guys are watching the recording, just so you guys have them. And then we are also, obviously, this will be a class going on next month. So I'm sure at that point, a lot of these updates will have been completed. So we'll actually be able to dive into them. But I did want to touch upon the tagging aspects that you guys have access to. And again, just how to share a contact, assign a contact. So I'm just going to click on my contacts button. It's the second button from the top. And one of the things that I want to make sure that you guys realize as well, again, I'm in a Rainmakers account. So if you guys are not in a Rainmakers account, don't panic if you don't have access to this. But if you are a Rainmaker, and also admins that are created under a Rainmaker account should all have access to this, we should be able to click on the name and then click on the team. Make sure that the team is selected, and you should then have access to select your actual members and view their contacts, which is pretty cool. So you do want to make sure, again, this is a Rainmaker thing. So if you are an agent on a team and you're not set up as a Rainmaker, you will not have access to this. Contacts will have to be shared with you in order for you to view them. However, if you are a Rainmaker, this is how you can essentially see their contacts. One thing we have noticed, and this is something just to keep in mind, just because you can see their contacts does not mean that you can edit them. So you can essentially see the information. You can open up the contact profile. You can essentially see the basic information, but you will not be able to delete it. You will not be able to edit it or essentially change it in any way. You can view only. As far as notes go, you can add a note, and this will actually also show up on the agents page as well. So in other words, if you add a note here, maybe you spoke to them on 9:20 and you wanted to make sure that Leah had a heads up just for the next time she pulls up the contact profile, you guys can add a note in here. For tasks, you cannot do anything with tasks yet. However, that should be to come. That's one of the things that was also announced at Mega Camp. You guys should be able to essentially interact with each other's tasks on contacts, specifically Rainmakers with their teammates' contacts. Opportunities, you can still see opportunities if they had created one. And then timeline, you can see any notes that the agent has posted themselves. So maybe it's a lead that you had designated to them. You can then come in here, locate the contact just by searching through here. The search bar will still work as long as you have the agent selected. Let me try typing in test. I know I have a couple in here. So if I just pull up a random test, I can actually come in here, check the timeline, make sure they've made contact, see if they have any smart plans set up. It will actually show everything for me, just so I can kind of, if there's a certain lead that I sent out and they were looking to be contacted by X date, I can actually come in here and double check manually. As far as, I'm going to jump back to contacts. As far as assigning and sharing contacts, I'm going to pull up just Connie's account. Sharing a contact, if you have a contact that you are looking to share, or if you have multiple contacts that you're looking to share, one way to do it is by clicking on the three dots all the way over. If you guys do have a lot of columns, scroll all the way over to the right, and you guys will see here you have access to do a couple of things: add to smart plan, view smart plans, you can archive them, add a note, or you can share. So if I click on share contacts, it's only going to select essentially the contact that I'm clicking those three dots of. And then from here, I can select my team, or I can essentially assign it to my team, or just to Connie, it's personal. So in other words, these are all contacts that are in Connie's account primarily. So if I want to assign this to the team, I can then turn around and share it with one of my agents. So I'll share it with Leah. So I have my team name selected, and then I have, because she's a part of two different teams, so that's why. And then I'm selecting Leah, and then I'm just going to select can edit, meaning that Leah can make some general edits to this, and then share. And then the name of that one is contact assign test. So if I come back into Leah's account, open up her contacts, wait for that to load. It won't load automatically, but what it will do is once I click on filters and I click on share, show shared contacts and apply, I should now be able to pull up, I think it had contact assign test right here. So it shared it over with me. And now I have editability as well. I can actually come in here and make tweaks. I have all the same access. I can create an opportunity with this person. So if I'm maybe working with this buyer or seller, I can create an opportunity in my account. I can add them onto smart plans. I can create tasks for them. I can add notes. It's literally allowing Connie to share that entire contact profile with me. However, Connie will still remain having access to them. The one thing that it does not allow you to do, and let's see if they actually updated this. Let's see. So that has not yet been updated. So as of right now, the one thing it will not allow you to do when you're sharing a contact is add your own custom tag to it. That is yet to come. So that's actually another announcement that they made at MegaCamp, is the tagging aspects. You guys will actually have access to tag contacts that are shared with you. You guys will have access to tag all of the contacts that are nestled under the team. So in other words, if they've been assigned or owned by the team, any tag that the Rainmaker creates under that custom tag section that we touched upon in the beginning of class, you will be able to utilize those tags when assigning them to a contact. As of right now, you can only use system tags. Big difference between system tags and custom tags. System tags are always gray. You can't color code them and you can't edit them. So they're essentially very standard tags. Buyer, downline, invalid email address, they're all pretty standard. Custom tags are going to be ones like Facebook ad, or if you guys maybe have a certain neighborhood or a certain area, a time frame, things like that that you guys have manually created, those are going to be more so your custom tags. They can also be color coded. So as of right now, shared contacts and also assigned contacts. I'll show you guys that one really quick too. Jump back. So once I'm in Connie's account, you'll notice I don't have access to assign just a normal contact. However, again, Rainmaker account, when I click on my team name, I now have access to lead pool. So I can turn that on, and it has the one lead that's come through, and they can actually click on these three dots and it will allow her to assign this to someone. This is in the process of changing. So we will have a new tip video once it's fully live. And I apologize because we don't have anything yet, only because it's not live. What is soon to come is any agent that is essentially on the team will have access to grab leads that have been obtained and assign them to lead pool. Meaning that if you have leads that come in and you want to assign them to lead pool, it will allow everybody on your team to turn on lead pool as long as they have their team selected, and they'll have access to those leads. You, as the owner, will be the only one allowed to assign them. However, they will have access to the profiles. So, very similarly to how the Rainmaker has access to other agents' contacts, you will be able to actually share leads with other team members. This is something that they are still working on. It's not 100% live yet, so I'm not entirely sure on how that's going to look. However, it is going to allow you guys to just kind of share your leads a little bit easier. It's going to allow you guys to also implement those tags that the Rainmaker creates. So it should hopefully make things a little bit easier on that end. But my recommendation, as the coming weeks are coming upon us, hopefully these updates will start to come through. Keep an eye on our YouTube channel. All of our newest videos do populate first. And again, I am going to put a direct link to our team playlist, and any team video that's created will automatically get added to that playlist for you guys. So you guys can actually sort through them and look for specific things, and essentially search just that list just to make things a little bit easier for you. But as far as the tagging goes, this is not final. A lot of the custom tagging that you guys have struggled with over the last couple of months, they are updating it for you. It's just has not been launched yet. Um, because as far as right now, only Rainmakers actually have access to assign leads, and they have to be in the lead pool. So if they're not in the lead pool, they don't have access to assign them to anybody, then the contact would have to be shared. So that's the difference between sharing and assigning. As far as sharing goes too, just so you guys know, sharing, you can actually do that from anybody to anybody on the team. So if a buyer's agent needs to share a contact with a listing agent, you guys can do that. And then as of right now, only Rainmakers can assign leads. So they would be assigning them out to you rather than sharing them. That's the big difference. Um, as of right now as well, if I were to assign this to somebody, if I click on assign to, it's going to allow me to select a team member and then assign. What that will actually do is remove this agent from lead pool and give it to that agent. However, it will still be owned by the team. So, in other words, if a teammate were to leave the team, any leads that are owned by the team would not be lost. They would actually go back to the Rainmakers account, which is huge. So if you guys have questions on that, or if you guys are seeing something specific, again, I know I'm just touching the surface. There's so much information to go over. If you guys are seeing something specific that just looks wonky, not working the way you thought it would, or not working the way that you've read it should, let us know. Shoot us an email. My name is Brittany. If you guys address the email to me, I'll make sure that it goes into my folder and I can take a look at it for you. If you guys put Brittany, attention Brittany team class or anything along those lines, they'll make sure it goes into my folder so I can spot check your account specifically. But these are just some of the updates that we've gone over. I'll also make sure to post some of the updates that are yet to come in the bottom of this video. I'll also shoot them out to the chat just so you guys have them, because we are expecting those to start launching hopefully within the next couple of weeks. But that pretty much concludes class. I appreciate you guys for sticking in there with me. And also, if you guys are watching the recording, I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys have questions or concerns, as always, just let us know.